Cancer.
Hello everyone, it's great to see you, and the channel here is new, so I'm going to have to ask you to resubscribe so I can get these videos to your inbox. And before we start the forecast, let me just update you that your monthly recorded audio scopes are up, and also your daily scopes. And thank you for all the great feedback on that. It is for a limited time free for you to go listen every single day. So just go to the website here and you can see what is up on a daily basis. Let's go to your forecasts. Hello Cancerians, this is your November forecast for 2013, and it's good to see you as always. Now this month for you, it's going to be a fun month, a good month, because the sun is cruising through the 5th house, which is the house of joy and pleasure and leisure and hobbies and creative things. It's also the house for children. And the sun is cruising through Scorpio, which is a sister sign to your own sign. So this kind of elevates everything and just makes it that much more harmonious and fun and feeling. It could be intense because the Scorpions feel that much deeper those emotions that we hold on a day-to-day, month-to-month basis. So you might just experience that your own emotional state may be a little bit more passionate this month. Those of you who are single might absolutely find somebody here this month, because we also have the sun trining Jupiter, which brings everything to the forefront and more abundant and generous and happy-go-lucky. And you have Jupiter here in your 1st house still, which you will be, you know, until summer of 14. So a great time to start new ventures. It's a house of creativity, projects, for example. Some of you looking into the business side of your life, which I know many of you are, because there's changes going up there in your career house, where some of you have left, you've split from the old, and kind of trying to figure out what it is and where it is you can be heading down your future path. So this would be a great month for any of you to initiate anything that it can bring on a larger scope of what you foresee yourself as. Excuse me. Now also we have the new moon, and it's a powerful new moon this month. It's an eclipse, and this will be happening on the 3rd of November, and it is in the same area here with love and creativity. And so your intentions this month, what would that be? It's more like I hear you say, you know, I need to enlarge this room of joy and fun and leisure, and make sure that I make this room available, you know, as the weeks and months proceed, because any new moon has the power to follow us for an entire year. And since it's an eclipse moon, well, you know, it gives us that even much more punch. Now that said, it may also eclipse something out of your life, which eclipses do. But whatever is going to leave, and not everybody will experience it, but some of you will, then you will see that it is because it is. You know, sometimes we need to clear room in order to grow new rooms. And since it's also in the house of children, some of you might have grown children, so you might see that maybe 1 or 2 of them have left the nest. You know, maybe they've gone on to college. And what do you do with your spare time? Now you have, you know, a lot more on your hand. And what do you want to fill that with? Well, the answer is in the house it is in, which is creative aspects. Start bringing up, tuning into your talents and the traits that you have with you, and expand upon those. This is where I see that you can really grow a lot of good energy. Now, Mercury is retrograde until the 11th of November, has been here since October, so cruising through this area, it gives you a little time to reflect, and a lot of you will, especially if it comes to your children, whatever changes they've been going through. You might be wondering how they're doing, thinking back over the past, memories and whatnot. This is for you in that age group. For the younger Cancerians, this would probably be you thinking about some kind of love relationship of the past, or many of you might even be revisited from some ex coming into being here, because retrogrades do tend to do that, especially in this area of love and romance. And in the sign of Scorpio, you might just feel that maybe something could be revived this month. And this will be good for those of you waiting and hoping for a reconnection. Others of you who will not be as happy to have a reconnection from the past, well, you're just going to have to deal with it and balance it. It is definitely going to be there with you until it goes direct again here on the 11th. So anyhow, we have Jupiter beautifying this area of color, design, shapes and forms, whatever you could feel of textures that can come in. I see that many times associated with Scorpio. We have Jupiter beaming your area of the sun here, and Scorpio's opposite sign is Taurus, and that is all about interior decoration and colors and so forth. And textiles, and Jupiter is in a very good aspect to this area as well. So you can see how the two of them combined here can do something now quite creatively there for you. Then we have top of the month. Well, let's start with the last day of October, actually, because Mars and Pluto formed a trine, which is a very powerful transit, because Mars is dynamite and Pluto is nuclear. Put the two of them together and you got turbo deluxe. So a lot of physical energy coming to the surface for you, Cancerians. And for you, it will be between the third house of communication, where Mars is. Pluto is still in your 7th house for long-term committed relationships. And so I see how you dynamically will want to communicate with your partner and communicate on deeper levels, because you're thinking a whole lot now. Not only is Mars cruising through your 3rd house of communication, but it's also transiting the sign of Virgo, and Virgo is very analytical. So you get like a double whammy of this, and you might have been, you know, building over time what you would like to share with your partner, and you've been quiet about it. Well, not now, because it's going to come out, and it's starting here at the very end of October. Coming in as we're cresting into the beginning of November, you will see how these communications may rise all on their own. Some of you might have been a little fearful earlier to kind of bring up sensitive matters just because you didn't want to rock the boat. Well, when time is right, it's going to come out anyway, but I see it coming out here in a stream that is good, okay? So it's not the choppy waves. It's going to be deep, it's going to be real, it's going to be authentic. So that can bring in a lot of healing for many of you also. But then here, November 1st, we got Uranus and this very same Pluto in an exact square. And we know it has been doing that for a long time. It's been kind of like getting close and moving away, getting close. It's going to do this several times. And Uranus liberates. It breaks free. It separates. It divorces itself when it comes into squares or oppositions. And what it is wanting to do here for you is separate itself from that which no longer works. Now, Uranus is in your 10th house, so that's the career. So some of you might have been feeling some anxiety levels starting to grow and rise here in this area, but it's always all for the good, okay? The anxiety that some may feel is that you don't have the same control that you've always had prior. Well, you know, Uranus is now cresting to kind of separate away from and then bring in new partnerships, new one-on-one relationships. It's going to intensify, it's going to build, and it's all good if we look at the long run. So you want to keep your eye on the horizon. Don't look just right now short term, because all evidence, all facets may not be totally in the picture quite yet. Just trust the process. Mercury and Mars are going to have good communications on the 1st. I see you being very dynamic, and I think this is when things are going to come to the forefront. I see the Sun supporting you in this, because there's also a Sun and Pluto aspect this day, sextile. So, and Mercury is also to that Pluto. So I'm seeing it has to do with communication, your children, your love relationships, your marriage if you're married, any one-on-one relationships, that could be partnerships that you work with. This is where the energy is going to go, and for you, it's all good. Okay, got good aspects here for it. And then we have the Sun and Mars also on the 3rd coming in behind it, just to make sure if there was any leftovers that weren't talked about, well, you'll add that to the mix too. Then we have Venus. Right now it is in your sign of Sagittarius in the 6th house. You've had that here throughout October, and so you've been busy by streamlining new, should I say, not perspectives, but it's your day-to-day routine, getting all your ducks in a row, because there might have been some changes, some shifts, so you put a lot of love, a lot of dedication into it. Some of you have moved back into the routine of picking up, going to the gym, working out, and loving it, not as a chore. 6th house sometimes can come across as chores, but when we have Venus there, well, Venus is loving what it's doing, or it wouldn't be doing it. So that good for you, okay? Diets are important too, that you get the right nutrients, and this is where your searchlight has been. And then we have a romantic day on the 7th and the 8th. Venus here with Neptune. Neptune's just about to turn direct, which it will on the 13th. So, but it's still very romantic. It's very dreamy. It's a time to sense, feel, share, be open about your emotions. Mercury is here in that same 6th house, so even Mercury wants to communicate and share these feelings. So don't hold it back. Don't just think them. You know, if you have a partner there, verbalize it, because you know it's like everybody likes to hear those good things. We have Mars and Saturn. Saturn here is in your 5th house. So there has been a lot of extra responsibility perhaps with a child. For those of you working on projects, well, okay, so you've had that responsibility. We've talked about this over these last few months. And you know, Saturn's going to be here for a while. But right now, Mars is coming in with a sextile here to this area. So Mars being in the 3rd house of communication, Saturn being there in the 5th, what is that? It's Mars communicating the new structures that you're putting in place that has to do with creative projects. If your child has moved on to college, that may be you calling on the phone, checking up all the time. You know, Mars talking here in the 3rd house, communicating. You being the parent, the authority, Saturn, in the house of children. So you may be checking up a little extra to make sure that they're doing good, you know, and finding themselves in a good spot if this is their 1st year. And then we have the lucky day of the month, Cancerians, and that is the 12th. The Sun and Jupiter is going to be trine. We have that here between your 5th house and your 1st house. So for you, well, that is a gift, you know, because you are the Sun. Jupiter here is in your 1st house. So it's kind of like really coming together here as something jovial. It could be a gift. It could just be a day where things open up, new doors open up for you. It might be a new love romance or love interest, since it is that 5th house, and for any of you in any relationship, should be a beautiful day. So make sure that you circle in the 12th there. And even for lottery, and I don't usually go there and say that, but 5th house is also for speculation and gambling. And since Jupiter is beaming here on the 12th to your Sun, you could become very lucky here on this day. So, you know, don't go out and splurge a whole lot, but, you know, go buy a dollar ticket. If you're meant to win, you will. So here Neptune is going to start turning direct for us on the 14th. And so, 13th, sorry. And that will be in your 9th house here, Cancerian. So that's for you and vision. You know, it's you looking to, or looking towards those higher dimensions, the spiritual self, wanting to grow that spiritual self. So some of you might find yourself starting, you know, to take on some classes and expand this area. It is a very expansive area of the chart because it is the 9th house, ruled by Sagittarius and Jupiter. So I see that your creativity here can also become enlightened again as Neptune moves forward. Neptune is very visual. You might start dreaming a whole lot more or daydreaming. So yeah, and those of you who are artists or musicians, you will be loving this because inspiration will start flowing again. You might have felt that it's dried up a little bit over these last few months, but then again, you've been busy, you know, doing other things anyhow, but now is the time to get into that spirit and really start creating those things that you see or that you hear. It also rules clairaudience as it does clairvoyance, right? So, and then we have the 14th, a little bit tricky here, 14th, only because Venus, love or money, is going to be squaring off. And this will be between your 7th house, 10th house, so it might be money matters discussed with a spouse or a partner. You may not be seeing totally eye to eye on some financial matter. It could also be you and a coworker, since it is also the 10th house of career involved here. Or it might be you that, or you're still looking for a job and not feeling that you're able to kind of support your partner with bringing in some money. You might be feeling bad about that here on this day. Or it may be you carrying, you know, the breadwinner, and that your partner is not feeling too happy that he or she is not bringing extra to the table. But you know what? It's like, even though one of you might be bringing that issue up, Venus, this very same Venus, is conjunct Pluto on this day, and it's in the house of love and committed relationships or partnerships. So I'm seeing that if it is your partner having a down day on this day, I see you moving right in, wanting to heal it with love, intensity, because there's nothing more passionate and intense than a Venus-Pluto conjunct, and it is in the very house of your significant other, okay? And then we have Venus and Jupiter here, 19th. Yeah, well, I see them here working out, balancing together, and whatever was stirred up there on the 14th, I'm seeing here how something is coming in to cast the light on this, not necessarily as a seesaw effect, even though these two planets are opposite, but they're not difficult. They're the two easiest planets in the solar system. Jupiter being generous and Venus being, you know, the lover, so to speak, the great love, and it's also money. So I see more like how things can balance out. So there might be some answer to whatever was spoken about as an issue on the 14th, you know, so it's going to work itself out. Now on the 21st, we have the Sun moving into Sagittarius, and that will be moving out of this house of children or your creative projects, and it's going to more be streamlining your day-to-day activities and routines and health and so forth, and you already got a good start on that while Venus was there. So maybe now the Sun wants to follow up on it, and it's like, yep, you know, because Venus is moving out of this area, but you're coming in right behind it. It's like, yeah, I'm going to continue this here for a while. So that's great. That's wonderful. Financial discussions, again, here on the 23rd, it's also not just money and important discussions, but it could also be love and relationships and some important, I'd say, karmic issue as well, which Saturn also represents. For you, this will be between your 5th and 7th house, so definitely, you know, love will be having this deeper, not just mature talk, but it's a little sober, but it's good, it's supportive, it's trying to find new ways to grow its roots down in there to secure something. So whether this love relationship is about you and your emotional issues, it's good for it, and it may also be the way you can find a new way to kind of secure something financially in your teaming up, in your communication, in the way that you brainstorm and think here on this processing. And then we have end of this month, we got the Sun and Uranus here in a trine, which is really nice. Uranus here in your 10th house, and the Sun here in Sagittarius. So, you know, they're both fire signs, and I think if any of you needed to let go of something here a little earlier, well, here it comes in the new. You know, it's sometimes we can't get into that new area before we shut a door, but in that case, this should be good, and it might come a little abrupt or a little unexpected, but all in a good way, a good manner. So we have the full moon on the 17th. This will be in your 11th house, Cancerians, and that's for hopes, dreams, and wishes. A big full moon there. And it's also in the area of groups and organizations. And so some of you might just, you know, start affiliating with some new groups or new contacts there. Or you might just be spending some great time with some very close friends and enjoying it, okay? So the dates to remember is the eclipse, new moon eclipse on the 3rd. Write your intentions. We got the full moon on the 17th. We have Mercury going retrograde until the 11th. So no paper signing documents or buying any, you know, important, expensive equipment until the 11th. Thereafter, you're okay. If you can drag it out another week or two, nothing is better. But at least the 11th, no new contracts. And then we have Neptune going direct on the 13th and Jupiter going retrograde on the 8th. And let's just spend a moment there, because Jupiter, the big caregiver, you know, the generous, abundant mother of all, in this first house where you've been growing and expanding throughout spring, summer, it's been wonderful for you. You might now start feeling that it's going to drop off a little bit. Even though Jupiter, even in its retrograde form, is still good, it's still giving, it's still supporting, but it may drop off a little bit here in this first house, but it gives you time. And this is what retrogrades wants us to do, is to rethink, reevaluate, go back over, so you have time to kind of see where you came from, where you expanded into, where you are right now, what needs to be tweaked, and to remind ourselves what to be appreciative and grateful for, because it's been really good for so many of you Cancerians that things are really starting to lift and rise. And then for others of you, well, you've had some choices that you needed to make. Maybe you haven't made them quite yet. Jupiter retrograde is going to give you space and time to do exactly that, okay? So she's going to be retrograde at least for 5 months, so we're going straight through winter into early spring. So you will have that time to really look at where you're at in your relationships, what you want to keep, what you don't want to keep. This reflection is allowing you to obtain a higher perspective, so you're not just the participant, because when we're the participant, we're emoting and we get into that drama, and sometimes it's really hard to see where we're at when we're down there in that field. But the retrograde will allow you to come up here and kind of look down in that valley and figure out, you know, because when we're up here, we're not feeling, we're only observing, we're not participating. So in the observer seat, you're looking down at what's going on in your life. It will help you find the clarity. If you haven't found it yet while it's been cruising your sign, you will find it under this retrograde, and then you'll know exactly what to do. Okay, so this is pretty much what we have for you, Cancer, here this month. Do please subscribe so you get back on the channel and get your videos directly to your inbox. I'm really happy, like I said, to see you again here. And but as always, go listen to your moon sign and rising sign so you hear more of what is going on with you here this month. Okay, so let me walk you through how you're going to find your daily scopes and how to listen to them, download them. It's actually very simple. You go up here to the address bar and you type in zeitgeist.com. That is the home page. When it comes up, you go to your daily scopes right there, and you'll see you have your daily scopes right here. Now the ones that are activated, you will see that they are a little darker here in pink, and I add in as we go along. And these are free. It's a promotion until November 15th. So what you want to do, say you want to go to the 12th, well, you click on the 12th here on this page, and up comes here, and you will see on the right hand side the daily scopes right here. and you just go to your free download now. And you can check out other dates too. If you want to go back in time, and if something special happened, well, go check that out, and see what happened that day. But say you want to download here October 11th, you go to free download. It will take you right here. You put in your email address. I'll put mine here. You go submit. And here is your daily scope right here. It'll say download, and it will download directly to you. You open up with your default player. I have Windows Media Player. Click OK. Up comes your file, and you will be able to listen to it immediately. It's just waiting here as it's uploading that file. And why is it taking a little bit? Let me just do that again. Open. There we go. There's the file, and it will start playing here immediately. And you can just listen through it, and it goes. They're probably mainly between 5 to 8 minutes. This one here is 5 minutes, but yeah. So you can listen to it. You can go back. You can listen to another date. You can come back every day. It is a free thing for right now, and if you would like to share this with your friends, go ahead and send them this link that I have here on Daily Scopes. I made a mini URL here, and you can just copy and paste this, oops, right there, and send that to your friends, and I will see you next month.